So now we're going to work on line 5 of the density performance task, test and design. Right now I'm making the YouTube video for this performance task and this line of the performance task. We're going to go to simbucket.com/density. And as we've seen in previous classes, we're going to start by turning our fluid into water. And then we can go ahead and begin to fill out a spreadsheet to get our mass data and our volume data for the different objects. This was the example spreadsheet that we had, and I will post this for you all. So if we go now, we had gold before, and we can just review what we did with gold. We took the gold, we got its mass. That's where here you have the 40.53 mass in grams. Then we look here, and this is our initial volume. That's the volume with nothing in the beaker, nothing in this container, 25.5. And that should be our initial volume for all of the objects that we're going to use. And remember, you should use at least 4 so that your line of best fit for the relationship between mass and volume is relatively accurate, at least relatively accurate. You could use all of the objects, but at least 4. So gold, we get to 40.53. We have our initial volume. Then when we put the actual gold object, that's 40.53 grams in the water, we can get the volume of that gold object. So first we get the final volume or the total volume there, and that's 27.6, and we know our volumes are in milliliters. To find our volume of that object, we're simply subtracting the final volume minus the initial volume, which you can set up in your spreadsheet as a sort of formula, equals, and then put in the numbers. So that's for the gold object. Now, what about some other objects? I'm not going to do them all for you, but some of these objects are very heavy and dense and will just sink to the bottom, like the gold just sinks to the bottom. What do you do if you're dealing with something like foam? Okay, foam does not sink to the bottom. So if we put our foam, first we get our mass, 2.76 grams, and we can put that on our spreadsheet. We have foam, 76 grams. Our initial volume, if we see here again, is the same. All of these initial volumes should be 25.5 because when there's nothing in the beaker, it's 25.5 milliliters that's in the beaker. Now, to get the volume of this foam object, you put the foam in the water, and notice how it bobs up and down. It's not stable. So we have to wait for this to become stable, for it to stop moving up and down. And that's what we're doing right now. So right now, we're still not stable. It's getting closer to being stable. And you just have to wait. That's part of the simulation. This is a computer simulation of what we would see in the lab. So when it finally stops, we stop at 28.3. And that would be the final volume that we put in our spreadsheet. And then you can just subtract equals 28.3 minus 25.5. And that gives you the volume of that foam object. And that's how you would continue to work for at least 4 different objects. And if you wanted to do even more, if you could do them all if you want.